Hi everybody, Ruechel here with the PCS Journal. So glad that you could join us right now. Two guests today, not a pen, two guests that are joining me today to talk about a very important subject for the election. We'll get to that in just a second. Jeanne Reynolds, the head of the music and arts program and everything here in Pinellas County Schools. We've known each other for many, many years.
That's
Good
right.
to see you.
Good to
and
see
Jonathan Ogle, who is the tech integration resource teacher. What does a tech integration mean? What do you do?
Okay, so my main position is helping our teachers implement their technology for improved instruction.
Oh, okay.
So and also to work with teachers using their digital arts labs with students.
Right. The days of just opening a book are over. You got to have the computer in there. And Jeanne, how long have you been with the school district now?
I've been in the school district a long time. I mean, very long time, and been in this position about 17 years. So,
Wow, it's been that long?
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Man, we've had some great times and just incredible music and
Absolutely,
stuff.
absolutely.
We're here to talk about a very important subject. This is not an endorsement, though. I want you to understand that. These are employees of the school district. The school district cannot get out there and campaign on behalf of anything. But what we can do is talk to you about what this referendum is, what it does, and then you, the voter, have to make up your mind. And there's no pressure one way or another. This is just an informative piece that we're doing so that you know what this money is being used for. Now, what's the actual name of this referendum? Does it have an official name?
You know, I'm not exactly sure, but it will appear on the ballot, and it is just a continuation. And it will say referendum.
Right. It'll say that you're taxing yourself a mill. Is that what it is, or half mil?
Half mil. Right.
And that money will be used for the school district. And this is money above and beyond what money is budgeted. That's important to remember because some people are kind of going, well, that just means the school district is going to cut back in other areas. That does not happen.
No, and it goes mainly 80% to salaries, and then the other 20% goes to visual arts, as Jonathan was talking about, music and the performing arts, technology and reading. So it is above and beyond, and this oversight committee ensures that nothing is supplanted.
What is the oversight committee?
Well, it's this independent oversight committee. It's folks in the community, it's business people, someone from the Realtors event, the League of Women Voters, the PTA, and we go before this board 3 or 4 times a year and have to explain. It's really wonderful. Literally every expenditure, how we're doing that, they look at it very, very carefully.
And Jonathan, what was it like? Were you here before this? We had this or not? Yeah. So
I was.
First of all, what was the impetus behind trying to pass an extra tax just to get this money?
Well, basically, I think that the community was interested in not only preserving the arts, but enhancing the arts and making our programs stronger. We have a wonderful, thriving arts community that's very supportive. And this referendum has really been pivotal. It has helped us in so many ways.
No, when you say help in so many ways, give me some examples.
Well, for the visual arts, I think of it as 3 pillars. The first pillar is student achievement. It's helped us buy art materials, quality art materials, and to equally distribute the money to the schools to buy these quality art supplies. It's helped us buy scholastic art magazines, books for literacy in the visual art programs. It's helped us buy technology for the students, computers and tablets so that the kids can learn and create art on these. It's helped us professionally develop our teachers even more so for the 21st century. And then finally, the third pillar is that it's helped us with the equipment, the furniture. A lot of our tables and things pre-referendum were just falling apart, dilapidated.
And you also had so many teachers that had these art carts, and I always felt so sorry for these teachers that had to go around from classroom to classroom to classroom.
Wheels falling off, all that, crayons breaking. It was pretty rough in the beginning. I mean, a lot of teachers had to beg, borrow, and dumpster dive to find supplies to teach art.
Now, let me just back up a little bit. So one of the criticisms might be, well, then why wasn't the school district fully funding the arts before then?
I think, as Jonathan pointed out, we have a very supportive arts community, so the school system really did support arts in terms of staffing, making sure teachers were there, had a very strong piece of very strong support. What I think is always hard for anything is some of the things to make sure we have equity everywhere. For example, you're a PTA in one part of the county. I want to get extra ORF instruments and da-da-da-da-da. Well, the school system is in an odd position there. Now what I can say in music, it doesn't matter where you are in this district.
Right.
All students have access to quality instruments, especially in the elementary schools where budgets would be varying. Now, the district did put out the big money in saying, we believe in this, we're going to put teachers there, and we don't supplant any of that. But as far as making sure materials and equitable materials are there, it's
Right,
very
and
helpful.
thinking about, it's ironic because I just did a program with Dr. Greco, and I was talking about how some schools, the PTA programs, the school that we belong to, we
Right.
raised almost $60,000.
Sure.
Just for extra things. Yet in some of the school districts that are in the poor neighborhoods in town, maybe their PTAs aren't as active. Well, they didn't have as much money. And one of the areas that you talked about, and again, what's a uniform? Well, a uniform is something that everybody is really proud of. And when you have a sameness across the county, i.e., if you come from a poor part of town, you're going to have the band uniforms just as nice as
You bet.
everybody else. I mean, that really is important, isn't it?
Absolutely is important. And I think Jonathan would agree. What we love in the arts, Al, is there isn't an achievement gap. You can be successful in the arts no matter where you live. And we see it all the time. We see great achievement in visual arts. We see great achievement in music. So we want to make sure kids have those materials to be successful, because that's one of the ways that we see that we impact not just arts achievement, we impact achievement across the curriculum. So by trying to make sure that we have those materials in kids' hands, for me it's been huge in elementary school. So, or as you point out, band uniforms. Booster organizations were always had to do that. Or in our case, we didn't have a string program anymore.
Yeah, right.
And now that's back. I mean, we're looked at as one of the high points of the state now.
When you talk about art, how do you go from being just an expression, like kids coloring stuff, to actually honing somebody's skill and say, this child, not that everybody can't draw. I can't draw. I would draw a stick man right here, and you'd go, "What is that, Al?"
I could teach you how to draw.
Don't count on it, man. I've
No,
tried.
he
I call them scribbling. With the kids, that how do you know when it's okay, an expression versus when it becomes this person, this guy or this gal, they are really talented. We really need to hone in on them because they are doing something here. Other kids are good, but this person is wow.
Well, the great thing about being in Pinellas County is we're attracting teachers from throughout the country and even abroad now.
Yeah.
So the teachers are coming in and they're quality. And we work on developing them professionally so that they recognize those students that are wanting to further their skills, but also at the same time helping the students that are maybe not that interested, that feel that they can't draw.
Right.
And by the way, if you can write a letter, you can draw because you're actually making shapes and lines.
So skeptical.
So I'm working on that with you
Okay.
afterwards. But
Okay.
so, the teachers are working with everyone to help improve them to their greatest potential.
Mm-hmm. And let's go back to the basics here. So what are the arts and in music, what does it do for kids in terms of the rest of their life, their life skills, even if they don't go on and pursue it? What's it do for them?
Well, we know in all of the arts that also the vast majority of our kids are not going to be professionals. That's not why we're teaching them. We want them to be culturally literate. I mean, just so that they know everything that they should know in a culture. The good news, Al, so we teach arts for the art's sake is what I'm saying. But the good news is, on every measure, kids do better. When the longer they're in the arts, and Florida has a wonderful cohort study on this, the longer you're in the arts, the better you do. And I always say on every measure, whether that's the FSA, the Florida State's tests, whether it's the SATs, whether it's getting your grade point average, every measure. So who wouldn't want this for your child? But I always say if I want it for my children, we need it for 100,000 children in Pinellas County schools.
Yeah, and especially when you think about music and math.
Oh,
see that's it.
Music and math, and of course there's a bunch of now brain research. We always knew it was there, we just didn't know why. And at least we're beginning to see a little bit of that just because they're watching what happens in the brain, sort of fires on both sides, and there's a lot of communication. So especially the earlier you do this with students, the better off you are.
So what kind of support do you get from the parents in this community? I'm just curious.
Oh boy, it's exciting.
Oh, you should talk about your event here.
All right, so we have about 15 different county art shows, exhibitions that the teachers submit student artwork for, and these are all adjudicated. And we use research-driven assessment to help find these art pieces to display in these wonderful venues throughout our community. And when we send out these invites to the kids, and then they bring their families or friends with them to these, I mean, if you've been to one of the county shows, you know how packed they are.
Oh, they are.
I mean,
yes,
they just, the parents just glow seeing seeing their student next to their artwork and taking the photograph, and they're just so proud. I mean, it's a
amazing.
wonderful, these things are just wonderful events.
The referendum comes up. This is will be the third time it's been renewed, right?
We did in 04, 08, 012. It's the fourth.
Okay, so it's a 4-year term. Do we know how much money is raised in that? Do we ever? I don't know if
I think what I heard our financial person say is about $38 million a year. And of course, remember, most of that goes to salaries.
Right.
And as Jonathan referenced when he talked about good teachers, that's an important part of the referendum, is recruiting teachers to Pinellas County, great teachers. It's, great teachers makes for great instruction for kids.
Yeah.
And that's a part outside the arts, is even recruiting teachers. So.
And you talked about this recruiting of teachers. It is more and more challenging. And I'm especially
Absolutely.
thinking of the tech integration. I mean, when we were growing up, they didn't have, if you wanted to have an artwork that was going to repeat everything, you had to do it all by hand, but now they have computers that do a lot of this kind of stuff. I'm just curious, how are kids doing with computers in art?
Great.
Oh, I think about my own son who's 11 now, and he was born when the iPhone came out, and he they're natives. They just understand technology. They intuitively get it. They're totally into it. And the technology is one aspect of our curriculum. We still focus on the traditional media, and but the kids, they love it and they get it, and teachers are learning from the kids.
Absolutely.
And in terms of what some of the brighter students, well, I don't want to call them that, the kids that specialize in arts, give me some examples of how well they're doing. You got any?
I mean, how all the students are doing in terms of achievement?
Yeah,
they've got great.
Beyond school, I know we've had some people that have gone to Broadway.
Oh my gosh,
we had a national gold winner from Pinellas County.
Absolutely.
From Gibbs High School, and there are only 8 national gold awards given out or that are earned. And so one of our students earned that and went to New York City and was recognized. This is one of the first that I know of that a student has won a national
that's
gold.
a huge award in visual arts. I mean, they're just huge. It's
So
like
what
thousands.
did he make that was so special?
Well, he has a
portfolio.
very interesting story. It's interesting because he was not into school. He was really, he had a love for art, and he just was trying to find his own voice. And that's what art is about, is finding your personal voice. Right, and he came across this rustic style of sculpture, and he started making these rustic homes out of clay, these slab homes, and he just made a series of these, and they were very unusual, very unlike what you'd see in a gallery museum. And he just, they submitted these to be adjudicated, and
wow,
this kid's got something.
Yeah.
And it really is. I mean, if you knew him before, you just see how this has changed him and how
made it successful in
absolutely,
schools.
yeah.
And that's, whether kids go to conservatories, we have them everywhere. Juilliard, Eastman, all of those places. But what you said before, we also have them in non-arts fields who are going to, be the leaders of the future. I mean, they're leaders of tomorrow.
But I'll tell you what that referendum is all about: arts for everyone. It's about 80% of that money is going toward teachers. But again, it's up to you to make your decision. This is not an endorsement one way or another. But now that you've got some information, we hope you can make up your mind which way you want to vote. So thank you so much for stopping by. I always love talking about the arts. That's
great.
It's right here. Whoops, excuse me. Right here, the heart.
Thank you.
It's a lung pad over here. We're going to continue our program with more right after this, so please stay with us.